Okay, now we get to the real fun part of reloading. First thing we want to do, of course, is get rid of our expanding and charging die. Make sure we put that back together so we don't lose any of the pieces. By the way, what this is a funnel. So you can actually add your charge directly to here, like say if you have the, if you're using the supplied lead dipper. This is a 1/2 cc dipper, and it's supposed to, of course, provides a very consistent powder charge if you want to do it that way. But otherwise, you're going to need your bullet seating die. And that is this guy right here. Has that little funneled end right there. Now you want to run that all the way down until it hits right there. Actually, my bad. Let's go ahead and seat. Let's get the bullets out here. Let's go ahead and seat. We'll do these in batches of 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that bullet in there as straight as possible. Obviously it's not going to be perfect every time. Back the die off. I don't want to seat the bullet too deeply. So I'm going to run the ram all the way up until it touches the bullet. Then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 turns and see if that's what I want. That actually looks pretty stinking good. Let's go ahead and check the manual on my overall length to make sure that I am within my maximum length. So according to the reloading manual, my overall length should not exceed 1.275 inches. So let's see how close that is. I'm at 1.302 inches. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I need to seat it a little bit deeper. So let's do another quarter turn. .273. Now what I like to do is I like to compare it to other bullets. Factory loads especially, to see if I'm within the ballpark of what they recommend or what they're doing. So I got my Federal Champion ammunition here. I'm just going to take out one of those. Of course you want to be sure you don't want to mix them up. And I'll measure one of those, see where they're sitting. They're at 1.263. So maybe I'll seat it just a little bit different, a little bit deeper. Do a little 1/8 of a turn there. Let's see how that looks. 1.263. You know what? That's close enough for government work, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Now what I was doing, I was measuring every 5th one to make sure I was still within spec. 1.267. So yes, I was. So now here are 50 rounds that only have 1 stage left, and that's factory crimp stage. Okay, the factory crimp die is our last one we have to use. So pull the ram all the way up until it touches. Of course, got to back the retaining screw up. Okay, then This is your crimp setting right here, so you want to be sure to back that up first. And then you want to take a bullet and run it off. Make sure that I don't crimp it now. Run it to the top. You run this down until you feel it hit. Okay? Then you're going to make your incremental adjustments. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten the collar down to make sure that I don't go any farther than that. I'm going to turn this ever so slightly. Just a touch more. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little line across the top of the case. That's where your crimp is. Actually, that feels pretty stinking good. Maybe just a touch more. I think that's good. Let me go ahead and measure it to make sure my length hasn't changed. Nope. Still good. Let's go ahead and continue crimping. Now crimping will do two things. Not only will it put a crimp around the case mouth, but it'll also take the bell out. This is what they call a taper crimp. There we go. And it'll put that nice factory crimp in your round. So just like the day you bought them from the store. I'm going to see if I can show you an example of what it's doing. I don't know if you can really see that, but you can kind of see the bell in the case mouth. So what this will do is it'll take that out, I'll crimp that round in. So when I run it up in the ram and take it out, you can see a difference. It is a lot smoother. It does have that factory fresh feel. And this is the last one, 50. So now I've got 50 completed 45 ACP rounds. Now for those of you who are wanting to see a comparison between the two, just really quick, 115 grain 9mm, 230 grain 45 ACP. I'd much rather get hit with this than this. I don't want to get hit with this, but if I had a choice it would be with this over this. So now that they're all done, the only thing you really need to do is package them. And I've saved my boxes. I've got a PMC bronze box here that I'm going to use. But you also want to label it, and you want to show the weight of the bullet, the powder you used. Let me see what else. The primer, probably the date then you did it, and important information like that. So I'm going to just put a white label above this box to indicate that this is reloaded and not factory ammunition. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, here's the end result. The one on the left obviously is the one that I did because of the brass case, but the one on the right is a factory loaded Federal Champion 45 ACP 230 grain bullet. Other than the brass case, to me they look identical, which is what you want, because you want factory type settings, especially when you're talking length and things of that nature. Powder charge, of course, is going to vary. I don't think they're using unique in Federal Champion. In fact, I took one apart and the grains are really, really small. So that's one main difference there. I don't have a chronograph, so I won't be able to tell you what the velocity is. But you know, next time I get a chance, I'm going to take these out to the range and just see how well they shoot. But let me go ahead and show you all the information I'm going to put down regarding my new reloads. Okay, this is the information that I like to keep track of whenever I reload ammunition, which is, well, basically the first time I've done it. Well, I mean, just starting out. And that's my powder charge. It's 5.7 grains of unique. And the lot number of the powder is 578 with Shift Z, and the powder is manufactured 62009. And it's a 230 grain full metal jacket round nose. The diameter is .451. And using CCI 300, that's the model number, I guess you want to call it, large pistol primers. So those are the basics. I'll probably put today's date, which is 2/26/11. So I'll go ahead and I don't have my labels with me. Apparently I left them at work. I'm not stealing office supplies. I actually bought them while I was on a lunch break, and I just happened to leave them in my office. Oh, there's one more check that I have to show you really quick before I put these things to bed. Now, the easiest way to check to see if your bullets will fire or will work is to take your barrel out of your pistol. In this case, my Kimber Pro Carry 2, equipped with my favorite grips in the world, my custom killer grips, Infidel grips, and you just take the bullet and you chamber it. Now, it should be even with the top of that tab right there, and that's how you know it's going to work. If it's too long, then it may not cycle correctly, or if it's too short, it may not cycle correctly either. So, because remember, auto pistols, well, the 45 ACP in most auto pistols head space off the case mouth. So there's a little shoulder inside the chamber where the case mouth rests. And as long as your case mouth is the right diameter, and as long as the cartridge will go in, you're in really good shape. So they do. I've already cycled 5 rounds through, just racking the slide back and forth, and it did perfectly fine. If you want to see what factory setting is, see, it's identical. Winchester black talent round. Okie dokie. This is what I came out as far as my math. If I'm incorrect, somebody please tell me, but I think it's correct. I have the extra added cost of brass in this lot because I actually purchased this brass at a gun show because it was brass plated, or I'm sorry, nickel plated, various head stamps, but they all look very, very clean, and it cost me 15 bucks for 300 pieces. So that was 5 cents a piece extra outlay that you may not have. Now, the powder was kind of hard to figure out because there is a total of 454 grams of powder in 1 pound, in 1 can of unique. And it cost me about 18 bucks with tax, and so I had to convert grams into grains. Now, there are 1,543.6 grains per 100 grams. So I multiplied that, times my 454, and I came out with 7,008 grains. That's rounded up. And then I divided that by the price, and then multiplied the number of grains. The 5.7 grains is what I used. And I came up with a cost of 1.4 cents per case for the powder charge. Like I said, if my math is off, please somebody tell me. The bullets, I bought 300 of those for, hold on a second, like $42 at the last gun show from Georgia Arms. And they're nice bullets. They're really nice bullets. So 7.1 cents a piece was what they cost me. The primers were 35. That was the out-the-door price for 1,000 of them, so it's 3.5 cents a piece. Adding that all, that's 17 cents per round. You multiply that by 50, that's $8.50 for this. And that's using brass that I purchased. If you use your own brass, you knock that down to 12 cents a round. And let's see what that would be. That comes out to $6 a box. Now, like I said, that's the bullets and are probably going to be your largest variable. That's a really good price for the bullets that I bought, because the first batch of 9mm bullets I bought were like $18 for 100. And so this works out a little bit better than that, so that's why it's going to be a little bit less. When I did my first batch of 9mm, I used those Hornady bullets, and I actually came out to like $11.50 per box. If I would have used the cheaper bullets, the 10 for the 10 for 100 I'm sorry, 100 bullets for $10 that I bought from Georgia Arms, it would have brought it down to like the $8.59 range, which of course is would have saved me money. Now, one thing that I noticed when you're reloading is that the larger the caliber, basically the larger the savings, because the cost increase between or amongst the calibers when you're hand loading is not that great, because the powder charges actually are quite similar, about the same size, so that's not going to vary. The bullets are going to be a little bit more expensive in the larger calibers because obviously there's more material. Primers are going to be the same because the small pistol primers and large pistol primers were the same price. The brass, of course, is going to be a little bit different. The 9mm brass is cheaper than 45 ACP brass. I don't know why, it just is. So if you're going to do this, first of all, I think you need to be committed to the idea. Not that you have to do a lot of it, but it takes time, and it does take concentration, and it does take effort. So if you're going to go ahead and reload, I think you should be committed to the process. Not that you can do a lot. Now, the other thing is this. As far as a money-saving thing, yeah, you will save money per box, but you also have to remember what your startup costs were. So my startup costs are probably going to be different than yours because I got a lot of these as gifts. My press I got as a gift, my reloading manual, a couple sets of dies, a lot of the other things I got for free. You know, so if you're going out and buying a press, you don't have to buy a real fancy one. This is probably about the cheapest you can get without going with the handheld press. From Lee, and Lee makes good stuff. Everything I've heard about him has been very, very good. Now, your powder costs are going to vary. The gun store I buy it from, I think, has very reasonable prices on powder. Scale, depending on how much you pay for that. So I'm not going to tell you how many rounds you need to recover your costs. It's going to be a lot. That's probably about a little less than half of what you would buy for factory loads of 230 grain 45 ACP. And also remember, this is nickel-plated brass. So, you know, that may be a premium or not as far as like Full Metal Jacket stuff. But right now, 50 rounds of 45 ACP will run you at the very least, even for the Federal Champion stuff, at least $16, $17 a box when you get done with tax and everything. And I included approximately what it was for me out the door. So that is pretty much tax included. So keep that in mind. So you figure I'm saving, let's say, just to be conservative, $7 a box. So, you know, I load like 10 boxes, that's $70. That's not too shabby. And that'll pay for a lot of reloading equipment. You could probably get into a nice reloading setup for about $150 for one caliber. That's including this deluxe set of pistol dies. Now you figure like 100, 110 for a reloading kit. That includes pretty much everything you need except for the dies. So you round it up to about 150. You know, that's not bad. That's about 20-ish, a little more than 20 rounds, 22 boxes of these. And if you shoot a lot, obviously, you're going to go through that fairly quickly. It's going to take me a while to, even though my costs were lower, to recover, but still, it's not a bad deal at all, and it's something you may really want to look into. I like doing it. To me, it's neat. It's kind of relaxing. And it's just cool to, you know, manufacture your own ammunition. Doesn't that look awesome? I mean, really, you can't complain about how good that really looks. So, you know, there's a coolness factor to it, but ultimately, you're going to want to do it. If you want to get into it, you better pretty much enjoy it. You're going to have to be fairly detail-oriented because you're going to have to keep a track of a number of different things. And it's not hard. It's just, you know, a number of things that you have to remember. And you have to have patience. You know, this is not a fast, quick, easy, you know, I mean, not a fast and quick process. It's fairly time-consuming. And it can get monotonous, but you go into that rhythm thing and you should be all right. You know, put some music on if you want to. But not too loud because you do want to pay attention to what you're doing. All right, thank you so much. I hope this hasn't been too long and too boring. I hope everybody's learned something. I hope it's helped people as far as deciding whether they want to get into reloading or not. I'm glad I did. Even though in the long run I will save money, you know, short-term gain is not going to be immediately realized. I am still glad I got into it because, you know, I really enjoyed, and there's a certain amount of satisfaction at looking at this box of completed ammunition, and you know, I can't wait to shoot it. That knowing that I put this stuff together. And I want to thank Ammosmith.com. Go to his channel. He doesn't know me. I mean, I've corresponded, sent a couple PMs. He's been nice enough to answer me. So, you know, it's a shout out for him, even though, like I said, he doesn't know who I am. But I really appreciate his advice and his help. He's got a lot of great videos on reloading. He's got a lot of step-by-step things. This is more or less just to show you what I went through. But if you really want to know how to reload ammo, if you got any questions, that's the guy to ask. And there are a lot of other people. Don't get me wrong. I've had PMs from people who have offered advice to me, and I've asked them. But as far as having a video series, Ammosmith.com, I'll leave a link to his channel page. Really, that was my foundation for making this right here. So I want to thank him. He may never see this video, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine with me. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and everybody take care.